Hello, we're delighted you're here at this webinar. Today's webinar, we're going to be talking about connections and connectivity, and we're here with Ilene Schaffer. And I'm only going to tell you two things about Ilene. One is she's very, very into walking. In fact, she will often do coaching calls as a coach where she's walking and speaking on the phone, and her client is walking somewhere else and speaking on the phone. And this is a new kind of coaching thing, and Ilene is so into it. She has created cards for mindful stepping. So that is one thing about Ilene. And the second is she has added into our practice as Silicon Valley coaching, just asking the question of the client, what is your connection action? So between when we meet someone 1 week and another week, yes, they'll do some actions about their goals, but also who do they want to connect with? So you have the top person here today with you to talk about connection. Ilene, take us away for 20 minutes, and then we'll have Q&A after the 20 minutes. It'll be really concise for about 20 minutes. If you have a pressing question during it, go ahead and type it, and I will ask Ilene during it. But otherwise, see you in 20 minutes with questions.
Thank you, Senya. So just as Senya said, I am big on walking, and I've created this whole thing on mindfully connecting. And so not all social connections are created equally. So we will get to there in a moment, but I want to let you know what we're going to answer. Today, we want to make sure we answer the question of how do we socially connect so we leave feeling energized and fulfilled as opposed to drained and depleted. My guess is the last thing you want right now is to feel more drained or more depleted. So we're going to answer that question. We also are going to look at the why of socially connecting very briefly, and then the who piece, the how, and the when. So those are our goals for today, and I look forward to questions after. So the why piece, a great way to look at this, Chris Peterson, who is one of the thought leaders in positive psychology, he said you can narrow positive psychology and basically summarize it all up with 3 words: other people matter. That's it. And that is what allows us to flourish in life. So we know social connection is essential for us. It's essential for our physical as well as our emotional well-being. And it can boost that immunity too. And we need all of that more than ever now. So we want to make sure that social connections are at the forefront of our mind. Quick story, and that's going to lead us into kind of the who. So every morning I start my day with a morning walk, either with a client, like Senya said, where it's a client call, or a friend. This morning was with a girlfriend who I knew would energize me and fill me up. So we get talking, and she said, "Oh, can I just vent for a minute?" And she told me about a friend, and I won't say who in case they're online. However, she said, I can't talk to her right now. She is one of my best friends. I love her dearly, but she's stressing me out. And that's essentially what I want to talk about today too, is having that boundary and having that filter of who do we let in right now and who do we maybe keep at a little bit of a distance if they're not helping to boost us up. So that gave you, I got fulfilled by our conversation. I hope my friend did too. And then she shared the kind of the flip side of it. So here we go. In terms of the structure today, I want to start us off with an exercise, and it's going to be your warm-up exercise. So take a moment to kind of just settle into your chair, close your eyes, and I want you to think about one of your most favorite people, somebody who you love being with. And I want you to envision being with them right now in this moment. And think about something that you did with them, something, whether you traveled with them, whether you just had a great dinner with them, whatever it is. Imagine some scenario that you can recall that you just loved. And I want you to now pay attention to those feelings that you have in recalling that experience. What we've just done, and you can reopen your eyes if you want, what we've just done is shown the power of savoring. And we can savor past experiences and connect with someone just in our mind. And I wanted to share that warm up because we don't always have the time, or it's sometimes hard to connect schedules, but you can always recall a connection mentally and get those positive emotions, that positive spiral of emotions just from our mind. So that shows the power of our mind, the power of connection, and the power of savoring. I'm also talking to clients quite a bit right now about anticipatory savoring. So what are things that you want to do to connect with people in the future, and start planning those and getting your brain connected to that. Again, it releases positive emotions through connecting. So that's your warm up for today, and we'll do some other exercises in a moment. So again, I want to talk about mindfully connecting. And this is those people who you want to connect with, not the shoulds, not the, ugh, I have to. Chances are they're already on your list and you're connecting with them. If you have to already, then you're connecting with them. I'm talking about the people who you want to connect with. So I have a tool that, as Senya mentioned, for my clients, I always have them leave with a health action, a career or personal growth action, and a connection action. And I tell clients, even my executive coaching clients, it doesn't matter if the connection is personal or it's professional. If this experience has shown us one thing, it's our lives are enmeshed. They are enmeshed from home, life, everything. We are one person showing up in both places. And if we feel connected in one place, it trickles to the other. If we feel connected in the other place, it goes back to home or work, etc. So I don't care for my professional clients if it's a personal connection or a professional connection, but I do want them to set a goal to connect with somebody. So what I have as a tool that I created is called just a connection menu. And it's like a menu at a restaurant. I am going to show you, just so I don't have to toggle between slides, I'm going to just show you this and I'll read it to you. But basically, there you go. And I put in categories that I thought were some fun categories, but you're going to want to create your own categories. So one category, this is on the personal side, people who make me laugh, childhood friends, people who intellectually stimulate me, people where I feel safe, where I can just be like, oh, this is who I am, my authentic, pure, messy self. And this person, when I call them, they love me in all my ways. So that's the safe zone people. I'm going to talk about your A team. We're going to leave with your A team. So I'm not going to go into that right now. So those are some of the categories that I have on this list. Professionally, when I talk to clients about making a menu professionally, who are your sponsors? Who are those people who are there cheering for you from behind the scenes? Those are people you might want to connect with regularly. And this is a great time for us to make those connections. Mentors. Who are your mentors? Another great list to have. Your colleagues, people who you aspire to. If you're looking around and there are people working in a capacity that sounds of interest, they go on your aspirational list. And then you've got your curious list. I'm just curious about what this person does. That's on your curious list. So you're going to put names under all your categories. Then what you'll want to do is periodically think, how do I want to connect with any one or more of these people? So that is the who piece of the whole puzzle. So create your menu with your appropriate headings. And then when you feel the need to connect, you've already got your menu there and you're like, I need a good laugh. I'm calling this person. Or, you know what? I've been at home. I'm working like a crazy person. And I want to start to think about what's next for me. I'm going to call this person. So that's your who piece. Now the how piece. Many of us are Zooming a lot. I have to say, I woke up yesterday feeling a little over Zoomed. I need to take a Zoom break. And I think it's really important that we think about our energy levels and maybe kind of separate out times of when we're going to connect through video, through phone, through text, etc. Particularly if you've got a little bit of an introverted side. So we can connect through Zoom, and I highly recommend it. I do love it, but you want to just make sure it's energizing you and leaving you filled up. Phone, obviously, is an old-fashioned, easy way to go. Texting, and then walking while calling. And I'm going to go through the kind of the variations on those. I think of it like a pyramid. If you want to kind of, I don't want to fully connect, I'm going to keep it at an arm's distance. Those are those connections you want to text with. Taking it one step deeper, you might want to do a phone call. One step even closer is that video call. I highly recommend trying out some walking calls if that's not a norm for you. I do it personally and I do it professionally. And the beauty of walking with people is it really lowers stress levels. So chances are work environments are really stressful right now. So if you can take some of your phone calls outside and walk, it lowers your stress level. it also boosts creativity and problem-solving ability. All things we need. We need lower stress right now. We need more creativity, and we need that ability to innovate and be problem-solving. So get outside with colleagues and walk, if at all possible. And the fresh air and nature also provides so many benefits for us. So that is that how piece of how do I want to connect with people. And I also, going back to the who piece, as I was saying, you want to think about who you want to connect with. I jokingly like to say, you kind of want to spring clean relationships or Marie Kondo them. Not that I've Marie Kondoed my house, but if you have. So looking at them and thinking, do you bring me joy? Ah, no, you don't. You're going down here. Do you? Yes. So, and what I'm going to say on this is some people in your life, they might be family members, don't necessarily bring you joy. You're still keeping them in your life. What I'm talking about is if you need to lower your stress level, you want to think about how and when you interact with people who might cause you more stress. Just being more thoughtful about it. So there might be periods of the day when you're like, okay, I can reach out to this person who definitely I don't feel as filled up by, but it's really important for me to connect with them. You just want to be thoughtful about when you do it and how. It might be a text, it might be a brief phone call, and it has boundaries around it. So that's that how piece of the whole equation. And then lastly is that when piece. I highly encourage you to really sprinkle through connection throughout your day. It is so important for your wellness. So keep your menu handy and set your timer if you need to or what to stop life and make a connection with someone who is going to fill you up. And it might be a 2-minute funny text exchange. And it's like, okay, I can now finish my day. Or it might be, I'm going to take a walk for 15 minutes with this person and unwind, and then I'll come back in. So that is the when piece. The last thing I'm going to give you is one more exercise. You can close your eyes or keep them open, whatever you prefer. So if you had a choice of 5 people who you could shelter in place with, so they are on your island, what 5 people, and I do want you to write this down, what 5 people would you choose to shelter in place with? And I had a client ask me, I was walking with a client yesterday, virtually, of course, and she said, well, could it be family? And I said, absolutely. If that's who you want to shelter in place for an indefinite period of time with, fabulous. It doesn't have to be family, and no one's going to know. This is your secret list, okay? So it can be anybody you want, but you do need to know these people, okay? So 5, your top 5. So I'm going to give you just a second to jot down your top 5. These people, you want to make sure that they fill your bucket. They energize you. They make you feel safe, okay? So what you have just created is your A team. So I wish I could say, okay, great. Now we're going to have those people come shelter in place with you. We can't. However, they are your A team. That thing that I said I'll come back to, that is right there, the A team. Keep that A team list really front and foremost. These are those people who you are going to want to tap into when you're kind of hitting a bump, you're hitting a lull, you're creatively depleted. Call your A team. Call somebody on that list. Okay? So just in wrapping up, we want to make sure that you remember the why of connecting. It is vital for your mind, body, spirit. The who are those people who replenish you and fill you up? How are you going to do it? What is going to be the best mechanism for connecting? And then lastly, when are you going to do it? Make sure that you're doing it at times that really, when you need that boost, and even if you don't and you're like, you know what, I just want to relax, have a glass of wine and cheers a loved one. So take good care and make sure you're tapping that A team regularly. And I'm ready for questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ilene. That was really concise in 16 minutes. We're good. We're on it.
I was trying, Senya. I was trying.
That was amazing. First question, so I've got a couple. Please type your questions into the chat or into the Q&A. We'll monitor both of them. Who was on your A team when you did this exercise?
Oh my gosh, that's great. I have definitely family members. Unfortunately, with the shelter in place, obviously, and I have older family members who live locally, so that I can't be with right now. So they would be in, and I have to say, my 5 is kind of more like 10. So I have family members, and you can have more than 5. I have family members, my best friend who's in Marblehead in Massachusetts. I would die to have her with me. And then my friend who I walked with this morning. And I'm going to tell you, I would put one of my good friends who's a chef. Honestly, I'm done with the cooking. So that is who would be on my shelter in place island.
That's nice. So all of us should maybe think about who do we know who loves to cook?
Well, I'll do cleaning. I don't mind cleaning, but I am done with the cooking.
Nice, nice. Next question. So, especially given from the point of view of coaching, how do you do this naturally versus effortfully? And what I mean by that is it seems like it comes naturally to you to do connectivity, connection anytime from the morning till the end of your day. But what if it's a little effortful? So where's that balance, and what should you try to do?
And you mean you're not talking about the walking and coaching. You mean
I mean, you have told me that you're a little over Zoom, but in general, it sounds to me like you reach out to 20 people a day, even separate from the regular Zoom meeting. So what if that's not as natural for someone? What is, I mean, should they get on their calendar? Should they write a note to themselves?
Great question. And I think the menu will really help, because that kind of gets you excited to connect. Sometimes when we have a period that we can connect, we're like, I don't even know who I feel like talking to. Particularly if we're depleted and we've just gotten off a call and we're like, our head is spinning and it's like, oh, I just want to pop on a couch. If you were to pull up your menu and say, oh my gosh, I love Kelly. She cracks me up. That's what I'm going to do. And so I think it is that primer. We talk a lot about primers in coaching and having visual primers. Having a visual primer, and it might even be going through, not that everyone has time to do this, but if you do, going through your photo album, even pulling out some pictures of your A-team and having them posted around and thinking, I want to connect with this person or that person. I'll be honest, for me, I definitely have dialed back some of my connections because I'm working so much with clients and I need to make sure that my energy is there. And so I've really, I talk a lot about with clients having filters and boundaries of what you take in and filters of what you allow. And so I am having more limited calls so that I can have the energy I need for my family and my clients. And that's where, so I have dialed it back in terms of that. So I look at my energy management, which we talk a lot also about in terms of coaching. And so looking at your energy, for anybody who's on this call, looking at your energy and thinking, who will fill me up? Make sure you have that list available. And then when do I need it? And we all need it at different times. We know by the end of the night is when we have our resources are really depleted. So someone who is maybe more introverted might feel at the end of the night, that is not the time for me to be making phone calls. I just need to meditate. Somebody else might feel like I need a boost before I go to bed. So it depends on somebody's rhythm. Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got 2 questions from people. I'll read one at a time. What do you do if you only have time at the end of the day? Oh, we've got 3 questions. What do you do if you only have time at the end of the day and you're kind of a little too exhausted to talk to anyone, especially when there's the underlying stress of the coronavirus?
So one thing that I am going to be talking about next week on the call that will really address this too is trying to I say sprinkle out replenishment through the day, and some of these calls can be replenishment, or like I said, even just a text exchange, because I know many clients, and I'm seeing this even with my husband, so it's happening under my own roof, where it's like, I don't have time to do anything except sit at the desk and work nonstop. And we know that from a coaching perspective, from a positive psychology perspective, that we cannot do our best work when we are sitting at a desk from 6:30 in the morning until 8 at night. You cannot be creative, you can't be innovative, you can't problem solve, and your efficiency plummets. So what I do really encourage you to do is say, you know what, I'm gonna force myself to take a 5-minute break, even if it's just 5 minutes, and get up and make one call. Sometimes I know one call lasts more than 5 minutes. So maybe I'm going to just shoot a text and say, hey, I'm thinking about you. I am so drained, but I want you to know I love you. That teeny tiny connection takes 30 seconds. The last thing I would say is that that exercise I did at the beginning of savoring, for someone who's feeling like I don't have a ton of time throughout the day, you might want to just do a 30-second savoring, because it doesn't necessitate coordinating with somebody else. And you can just have those positive emotions flood your body for even the 30 seconds.
And you might actually end that by texting that person and just saying, I was thinking about you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love that. Absolutely. And just remembering how fun it was when we went on that ski trip or whatever.
Yeah, that ties so tightly with something that one of our viewers yesterday asked Sharon when she was talking about productivity. They asked, the person asked, what about the water cooler breaks or the walking around in the office, the things that we don't have when we're working remotely? And that's what it sounds like exactly you're talking about. You want to be that productive. Remember, keep that in mind.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one thing I have been hearing people doing more and more of that I love as teams for work is having that morning huddle on a Monday morning, and huddling and not talking about necessarily work that might come up or work intentions might come up, but really just, how are you doing? And, oh my gosh, I get to see your kids. That's so fun. And, that kind of thing. And one thing I've really been thinking a lot about, which I'm loving, and I'm going to write on this, is that this of all experience has dropped the veil of I'm a person at home and I'm a person at work. Not at all. You are one person. People have now entered your home. They've seen, oh my God, you have kids. And it's awesome. I love it. We are one human showing up everywhere. And I think we are going to be more deeply connected as a result of this, because I got to see Senya's kids crawling on her in a video. It makes, oh my God, Senya's human. I love it, and that's what we're seeing more of. So I think the connections are going to be deeper as a result of this. That's my hope.
2 more questions. A question on how to connect with sponsors who may be busy, who may have a very filled up schedule. How do you ask strategically for their time at this moment?
Absolutely. Such a good question. I would suggest reaching out as a check-in, just, I'm checking in with some of my, favorite people right now as I reflect on people who have been so impactful in my career. You immediately come to mind. And I want to just take this moment to share my thanks for you and my gratitude. And so come from first a checking in a gratitude place, and then say, I know you are probably swamped with all that's going on. Would love to know if we could do a 5-minute, it could be a 5-minute check-in or even a half-hour virtual call. I'd love to get to see your face and connect for a few minutes. But if you keep it short, my guess is it feels, one thing that I forgot to mention with Chris Peterson's quote of other people matter, I always like to add in, and so do you. And I say that because it's that reciprocity. So when you reach out to that person, they get the feel-good chemicals. It's like, this is someone who I've always loved and supported. And so they're gonna also benefit from you reaching out. So I'd go for it, but do it in just, I would love to connect for 15 minutes and check in with you.
And it sounds like you're saying actually talk to them first as a human, maybe even as a colleague, as opposed to as a sponsor or a mentor, but just check in. How are you doing? So do that kind of check in. Yeah. Absolutely.
And be able to even honestly share, this has allowed me to really reflect on important people in my life and people I'm so grateful for. And you're one of the top ones.
Yeah, that would mean a lot to someone. Yeah.
I would love send me that email. I would love it.
We'll see after this video, all of these people who Ilene has known for the past decades, just even, hey, I knew you in high school.
Exactly.
It would really help. We have one last question, and something that we ask our viewers to do near the end. You can start doing it because I'll read them off at the end. What is your one takeaway from this video with Ilene? And I will ask her one question that she'll answer as you have the chance to type away your one takeaway or something that's new for you, whether it's a thought you had or something you heard here. Here's a question. One person asks, I've realized I'm becoming more extroverted over the years and enjoy, dare I say need, connection with people more frequently. Is this development normal? And the person says, I was very introverted for the first about 35 years of my life.
Interesting. It's great. Really good question. I do. And I actually love this question. And the reason that I do is I tend to lean away from doing assessments like the Myers-Briggs with clients because I don't like anyone to go into a box of, I'm an INFJ, I'm an EN, you know, and it boxes us. So what you just asked is so beautiful because I think we evolve as humans. And I think you've just identified how you have grown in a new direction and open to that growth. And so is it normal or not? I see it certainly a lot with clients. And I think also as they start to meet new and different people, often when we're younger, we're in this small sea and we don't have a choice. It's like, these are the people you are going to hang out with, whether it's elementary school, whether it's middle school and high school. And it's just, it is a box. And if those aren't your people, you could feel more kind of introverted. And then once you get into the world and you get to start to choose your people, I'd say naturally you're going to feel more socially inclined. One of the key things to look at with introversion and extroversion too is the energy. Do these people energize me or do they sap me? And if I need to be, if I need something to energize me, do I take time alone or do I seek out people? And that's usually how you can kind of identify. And what I'm hearing is right now I'm seeking out people. And my guess is you're mindfully seeking out people, and that's continuing to energize you.
What a neat comment in terms of choosing your own friends later on, but maybe not having all that choice when you're younger. So you might interpret it in your head as, oh, I'm not a people person, when it's just, it's these people in that situation.
I'm not a these people person.
All right, let me tell you, we'll close with what some people are taking as their takeaway. So here what people are saying. Here are some things people are saying. To be more strategic in who I choose to reach out to based on where they fall on my menu. And another person saying, it's a great idea to have that people menu available to fill us up when we need it. My takeaway is your sprinkles of times throughout the day. Just monitor yourself. Too much, too little, but sprinkle it for yourself. And we have a few others. Other people matter. So yeah, this person has loved that summation of positive psychology from you. Other people matter. And two other comments. Doing this will fill your bucket as well as their bucket. You never know when someone else needs this also. The comments keep coming in, so I'll do a couple more. Reciprocity, yes. Same comment, reciprocity, it fills their bucket as well. We are one human showing up everywhere. That's your observation about now, this new reality, the work remote. So hopefully connections will deepen and will continue post quarantine. And one more comment, thinking about who my A team is and how lucky I am that two live in my house.
Awesome. That's so awesome.
Thank you so much, Ilene. Thank you so much. And this will continue to be on Facebook. Tomorrow is Friday and we have Vanessa with Focus. So come at the same time and we will getting focused here. Thank you so much. And
Vanessa is awesome for anyone listening. So definitely tune into that. Thank you for your time and be well and stay connected.
Thank you.